to make sure the feed is nice and strong. Okay. There we go. Oh, I can hear myself. Very good. Okay. I think tonight's going to be a fun one. Let's hope the API, Open AI stays up. Okay. All right. I can pop that down there. That's all right. That is good to go. And let's jump over to the chat. How's LinkedIn going? Oh, great. Cool. Look here to join live. All right. Let me just finalize a few things here and then we can get started. Might start on time. I feel like I'm missing something. It's always something. Oh. I've had to deal with multiple issues. What, 2 streams ago, the stream broke, stopped halfway. And then I use Camtasia to record locally as well. And that's been stuffing up. Everything's been stuffing up anyway. And the API as well. It's going to be a fun night. Yeah, that's going to be fun. All right. So if you have any questions, oh, great. You can hear me nice and clear. Oh, awesome. Yep, perfect. All right. Well, let's jump over and start things. Well, I think that's the first comment I ever got from X. So thank you for joining. Let me just bring this up a little bit more. It's a bit more comfortable. Just don't want the mic in the feed. All right, cool. Okay. So let's get started, shall we? Am I logged in? Yeah, I am. Perfect. All right, so everything is recording, stream's running fine. Let me check. I'm actually checking out the status of OpenAI's API status. We're fully operational. That's what he says. Let's keep that up here, actually. That'd be funny. Kind of keep an eye on it. We're fully operational. There we go. I'm going to just leave that there. Yesterday wasn't, as you can see there. When I was... Yeah. Anyway. Cool. So let's get right into it. So, artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence and AI? Well, if you've been sleeping under a rock or something, or this is all brand new, you probably don't know what AI is, but I'm just going to assume everyone has an understanding of the basics of AI, because tonight I want to talk about one of my favorite modules. Well, no, all modules are my favorite, let's be honest, but tonight is a big one because this one is all about Drupal AI and using the Drupal AI suite of modules in Drupal CMS. Now, I've been holding off actually doing this live stream purely because the last time I had a chat to a few people, they were like, oh, just hold off, wait till 1.1 is released. And then I waited till 1.1 and then now everyone's working on 1.2. And it's like, oh, you know what? I just need to get in there. But I also felt like there was a bit of procrastination in it as well because I knew that I want to get this right. and there's just so much to cover. But I thought, you know what? The only way I will do this live stream is if I just committed to doing it. And yes, I was mucking around with stuff today all the way to around 20 minutes ago. So today we're going to be taking a look at using Drupal AI in Drupal CMS. Now, I'm not going to cover absolutely everything because honestly, I could do probably another 5 live streams about AI in general. So what I want to do is show you how to use it specifically with the AI assistant recipe in Drupal CMS. And what I mean by that is when you install Drupal CMS and go to extend and then click on recommend, you will see this AI assistant. So we're just going to start things off by simply installing it because that actually gives you a lot out of the box. And you can then go ahead and set up things. You get a chatbot, you get a AI agent, and you can just go in there and start building things out. And then we're going to install a few extra modules. But before we do that, let's just have a quick talk about the module. Now, all this information can be found at drupal.org/project/AI, which I do like. Usability of a module starts with the name. I always say that pretty much every live stream. And another thing I like to do is always look at the stats because you can kind of tell how a module's going based off the stats. So let's take a look. We click on here. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, nice upward trend. Nice upward trend, which is pretty good. So let's go back. Now, the Drupal AI module, you have the standard core module, and then you have the submodules within it. And the submodules help you integrate it with search, with a chatbot, with CKEditor. You also have logging, translation, validation, automators, and stuff like that. Then you have provider modules. So this is just a module that helps you integrate with other providers. And a provider is something like OpenAI, Anthropic, what is it? Grok, Google Gemini, pretty much all of these providers. 11 Labs if you want to do audio stuff, Azure, AWS Bedrock, Hugging Face. Well, I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can get an understanding of it from there. And then you do have these vector database providers, and this is to do stuff with search. I'm not going to cover this today. That's a separate video in itself. And now you're starting to see a nice rich ecosystem of submodules that extend the functionality. And I'm sure this is going to change. Pretty much every time I probably do a live stream, it's going to be changing. So if you are getting started, the first thing you need to do, and the most important thing you need to do, is get an API key. Okay, and I'm going to be focusing on OpenAI. So make sure you go ahead and create an API key. You do have to put a bit of, I think you probably have to put your credit card, but you do need an API key to get started. All right, we've got our first comment in YouTube as well. Hello. So yeah, just keep your comments coming along. I'll do my best to kind of do 2 things at once. It's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a fun night. Now, if you do want to follow along, speaking about following along, if you do want to follow along, come over to DrupalForge. And from DrupalForge, you can actually spin up a Drupal CMS AI demo site, and you get $1 in API tokens. So you can only spend up to $1. And if you do spin it up, so what we can do is we can actually spin it up right now. So all you need to do is just go to drupalforge.org, and you'll see here a whole bunch of Drupal sites you can spin up. Now they aren't paying me for this, but I do know the people that run this site. But it's just an easy way to get started. And all you need to do is click on Drupal AI and then do a bit of maths, or math, whichever way you call it. And you hit the button and it goes off and starts deploying things for you. And you will get an hour to actually use it. Okay, so we do have a comment here. Usage states don't always count for local development. Reported usage is likely lower in real world. Well, when it comes to the stats of a module, yeah, I mean, you have to take it with a pinch of salt, really. Now, to spin this up, now to actually go to this website, all you need to do, I think the password is just admin, and then you just click on login, and it will give you a nice spun up website, which is pretty cool. So go here, admin, and you do get this nice spun up site with here on the right hand side, but unfortunately my face is there. So give me a moment. Didn't even think of this. With the power of editing, I'm going to flip myself to the left hand side. And here you can see on the right hand side, we do get this little chatbot here. And I can say hello, and that's it. This is a little chatbot that you get, and you've now spun this up using DrupalForge, and you can use it for now an hour. And I think you can only spend up to $1 in tokens. So if you do want to just quickly test things out, give this a go. Okay, there's nothing to set up. You don't have to set up your own API keys. You don't have to set up DDev like I have, but you can do that like so. Okay. All right. So we do have. Let me have a look at a few of the comments. All right. I wonder if an editorial workflow can be enhanced with AI support to make revisions better. I'm thinking, well, when you say enhance to make revisions better, if you have a bit more detail on that, I will be showing ECA. So ECA is event controller actions. I will be covering that, just how to utilize that stuff. And then we have a comment saying, I have a problem with my calendar page. Don't we all have problems with our calendar page? If you can give me a bit more information of exactly what problem you have, yeah, I'll do my best to help you out. All right, now let's just check the status. Everything's online. Everything's online for now. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here I've got a Drupal CMS site, and I'm just running it locally using DDev. Okay, and Drupal CMS already comes with all the modules that we need. But if you do need to go ahead and install the modules, what you'll need to do is come along in here, download the correct version, and also download a provider. Very important. You need to download an actual provider. And so what I'm going to do now is come along in here, go to extend, and then click on recommend. And then I'll click on AI assistant. Well, that actually installed very quickly. And before I do anything, let me pop this out and pop in my API key, because now what I need to do is put in an API key. So I'll move that over here just so no one sees it, but I will get rid of the key. Click on continue. And now it is going to pop in, and everything has been set up. And it was that easy to set up. Now here on the bottom right, you do need to, because it uses cookies, with Drupal CMS does have a cookie pop-up thingy, whatever they're called. So what I want to do is click on manage privacy setting. You can just see it. You probably can't, but then you just want to make sure that you turn everything on, just toggle everything on. And now you get this nice little pop-up. And as usual, I want to go ahead and test things out. So let me just test things out. Hello, everything is working. Let's hope everything is working. And it's saying hello. All right, great. It is working. All right, so questions. Okay, so I have a problem with my calendar page. I'm using my calendar shows events. Sometimes they're not appearing on my calendar. I really don't know what the problem could be, honestly, without debugging it. Sorry, I don't know. And then they come back. Could be caching problem. Just check the view and just make sure things are returning. All right, another comment. Okay, we had a tool in the back. We had a tool to check the readability of a post. Now we can have an agent perform such reviews and leave comments in a workflow. Yes, absolutely. That is a great use. Absolutely, you can do that. You could have an agent. So what you could do is utilize a custom comment type. And you could have an agent that goes through your content and then reads it, reply, and then just generates some comments and then adds it in and then pastes it. And yeah, and I mean, there's so much you can do, so much you can do. And every time I play around with something, it's like, oh, I can use Drupal for this. I can use now Drupal for that. It just makes life so much easier. All right. So now that we have everything set up, let me just quickly show you the back end a bit, just so you get a bit of an understanding, because yes, this is all great. And don't get me wrong, I love recipes. I love the idea of recipes, but the recipes does a lot in the back end. And it's just good to know when things break, how to change things, okay? So the first thing I want to do is just show you the configuration. So if you go to configuration and then click on AI, you will see a few options right here, okay? So if we click on default settings, let me close that, pop that down. Let's click on default. Give that a moment. And what you can do is for these different types of operations, you can set a specific provider. So you can have, your Drupal site can have OpenAI, it can have Anthropic, it can have Azure, you can have all of them, and then you can come along in here and say, well, actually for image, for speech to speech, I want to use this provider, for this and that, I want to use that provider, and you can also define a model. And by default, I'm just going to leave it as it is, just going to use OpenAI for everything, but you may want to switch it depending on certain configuration. It's up to you. Then if we go back to AI, you then have your AI agent settings. This is where your AI agents are set up, and we'll take a look at this in a second in a bit more detail. But again, I'm not going to cover this from top to bottom. Then you have your AI assistant. This is where you actually set up kind of like your chatbot, and you tell it which AI agents to use. Then you have image alt text settings. And finally, here you have your provider. So when you install a provider module, you will have an option here. And then what you need to do is go ahead and add in your key. And most importantly, you would come back here and actually select your key. Now, how are keys actually stored? That's important. So what Drupal AI uses is Drupal AI uses the key module. This is a separate Drupal module that just allows you to manage keys. And what I mean by keys is any type of API key. So what you want to avoid is actually storing API keys in the database. Locally, when you're testing things out, I think it's okay. Like right now, it is storing it in the database. But generally, on a production site, and you can see here, it mentions things like, encryption keys and stuff like that. You want to avoid storing this stuff in the database purely because, for one thing, your database dumps could be easily leaked, and that's how a lot of data leakage actually happens. I do remember a story of an actual Drupal site a while ago where a contractor uploaded database dumps that utilized web form, and it had a lot of private information. They uploaded it into a server, and the Apache server was configured to show files. So you just go, if you know the path to the server directly, you could see all the database dumps, and you could just download it. It can happen as simple as that. Nothing was hacked, but it can happen as simple as that. So the key module allows you to just manage your keys in a sane way. So you can store your keys in as config, but you can also store them as environment variables on your server. So then with your environment variable, you can then come along in here. And the good thing is if you click on edit, it will tell you, be careful. So this is great for streaming because a few times when I've had to stream things, there's been times where, keys are just shown and it's like, how do I stream and hide a key? Because somebody might grab that key straight away and start using it. But if I click on edit, then I'll see the key. But if I go back, I can come along in here and then I can add in a new key, and you can select if it's a file, if it's configuration, or if it's an environment variable. So this means often on servers, they will inject these secrets or keys directly as an environment variable. And then at the same time, if you do want to rotate your keys as well, just in case they do kind of get out in the wild. Honestly, there must be, hackers must be searching for keys on GitHub, honestly, because, well, they were doing it with AWS tokens as well, and keys. They must be just crawling those repositories, because people must just chuck them in like a .env file and just chuck them on, vibe code this, vibe code that, chuck them up. Whoopsie, accidentally uploaded, and that's it. So once you've set up your key, all you need to do is then come back in here. And most importantly, I always forget to do this. Once I've set up the key, you then have to then come back here and select it. I always forget that part, but make sure you come back and do that. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and do some actual site building with our agent. So here is so what are we going to do? Okay, so let's start off here. All right, so our agent here, we can ask questions. So this is added. So I'll give you just a quick kind of rundown of from the top down how it kind of works, how I understand how it works. So this chatbot is actually loaded up as a block. So if you go here, you will see somewhere here, sidebar, I do believe it's a block, and that it will be in Gin. Make sure you select the right theme. It'll be in Gin because it's the backend only. And here we go right here. It is right here, okay? So this is the AI agent. So we add it to the site as a block. Now, because it's only added in the Gin theme, it's only going to be available on the backend. Now, this AI assistant can be managed from, click on here, go to assistants. This is the assistant. Now, this assistant, you can see, there's a lot to write here. There's a lot. Then the instructions for the assistant are right here. And then you can select the AI provider that the assistant is going to use. Then from agents enabled, you select the individual agents. So right now we have 3 agents, which is content type agent, field agent, and taxonomy agent. Let's go back. And let's go to AI agent settings. You have these first 3, which are plugin settings. And I do believe there was talk about eventually deprecating them. But this, where is it? We have then these agents right here. So you can kind of see it. And so if we click on, say, this content type one, this is a content type agent. You can set up max loops. Again, I don't want to go through this in detail. I'd rather keep this all for a separate live stream, but I just want to go through this just so you have a good understanding of it. Because when things kind of break, then at least you know where to debug it. Because the AI assistant recipe really just makes this stuff so much easier to just get in there and start building things. You can actually set up a max loop. And then if you go further down, you do have these instructions where for the AI agent, and most importantly, you have all of these tools. And you can select then these tools that help you edit your content type, how to create your content type, how to get content type infos, and things like that. Now, before we start doing extra stuff, let me also install one extra module, because what I want to do is actually log this stuff, because it's actually pretty fascinating what happens. So search for logging and go ahead and install it. And this module is useful when things go wrong. It's a good way of testing things out. And so come into settings and also automatically log requests and responses. I want to log everything. And if we come along in here, we're going to see nothing because nothing has been logged. Now, as of this recording, just a bit of a heads up, if you come, you won't be able to, where is that ticket? There is an actual issue as of this recording with a core issue that I had to patch. So the navigation title component does produce a fatal error. And I actually noticed this as well because I mentioned it in somewhere else. And I also put in a comment in there. So just be aware. As of this recording, you do have to put this patch in when you go to the login. Now, I've already done it because I don't want to waste your time patching things. But yeah. All right. So what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and just start off with some basic questions. All right, so can you list out all the content types? And what it's going to do is that it's going to think about it. And then for some reason, it's always asking to proceed. Yes, proceed. And I did try telling it in the past, just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it. But it can be a bit finicky sometimes. So it's going to go ahead, it's contacting agents, and it gives us a list, okay? And right now we're going to have one content type. If we refresh this login page, let's close this, you can see actually how many logs it has produced. And if we scroll to the side and click on view, you can see the actual prompt. You can see the provider. You can also see certain tags. And you can also see the response and also tokens and things like that. So again, this is pretty fascinating. Every time I make a change, I come here because one of the good reasons for using this logging is when you're trying to build things out and you're dealing with context not getting passed, because sometimes things might look like they're working, but AI is great at hallucinating and making stuff up. So you want to know sometimes, well, is context actually getting passed? And here you can actually see the proper user prompt and see if your content is getting passed. Very important. All right, so we've done that. Things are working, okay? Now, let's actually build out something. So what I'll do is I'll ask it, can you create a content type called project? Let's do that. And it's going to ask me to proceed. Now, at this point, you may get some errors. So let's see how things go. Yes, proceed. So it's thinking about it. It's telling you. I do kind of understand now when I do think about it, it does kind of make sense to acknowledge what you're going to do. But as somebody that's kind of used to this AI stuff, I'm just like, yeah, do it, do it, do it, do it. All right, so it's gone ahead and done it, okay? Now, if we go to structure, content types, you'll see here, we have a project. Look at that. It's been made. Content types already been made. All right. Next, what are we going to do? Can you create a field called project description? It should be a formatted long text field. All right, so I'm slowly building things out. That was actually pretty quick. Yes, proceed. We should have an option. What is it? The auto accept. What is it? Cursor has it? Dude, accept, accept, accept. Go, go, go. All right. All right, so now it's doing that. It's proceeding. I feel like sometimes when it comes to creating fields, it takes a little longer because let me show you this. This is actually fascinating stuff. Okay, let me close that. Where's the field? Is it this one? Because if you take a look at the tokens, no, the actual assistant that it generates. So here you can see. So, okay, this is a pretty cool thing. You can select how much context the chat has. So you can see here that there is a certain amount of context and the tokens as well. I always keep an eye out on the tokens, but where was that? I saw it. Oh yeah. Okay. This is the stuff that's happening in the back end. This is full on. So you've got, okay, this is I think the assistant's adding this. Of course, I'm not typing this, but Drupal's given it all this extra information. You see all of this stuff in the prompt is getting added. Okay. All this information. There's a lot. Okay. There's a lot in there. Token amount. There you go. Total tokens, nearly 8,000 tokens. Now, I should also mention, and this was brought up when I was chatting to somebody today, that when you do throw a lot to the chatbot, it's going to hit, especially OpenAI's endpoint, it's going to hit it multiple times. And depending on what plan you are with the API, you might get rate limited. We can only send a certain amount of requests per minute or even per second. So there has been issues in the past where I think there are certain tiers with OpenAI. So once you spend over $50 in API tokens, you go into the next tier, and then you get more rates. You're not rate limited as much. So you can actually send stuff. You can actually hit the API more often per minute, depending on how much money you spend, which is a bit annoying, especially if you're just trying things out and you give it like one huge prompt to like build your whole Drupal site. But that's just something to be aware of. All right, so we've got our content type. It's great. Let's go check out our fields. There we go. We've got a field right there. All right. And now what I want to do is let's create a task. So we're going to create a project, and also we're going to just create a task content type. Please create a task content. I'll do a task content type. Last time I did this, it was actually pretty smart. Well, no, it's not going to do it this time. Okay. Proceed. So now we're going to get a task content type. And what I want to do is awesome. Okay, cool. On the task content type, create a task description. I always hate the word description. I can never spell it. Task description. I want to spell that correctly. That's such a weird name, description. Did I spell it right? I did. Create a task description field. No, formatted long text field. And create a, I'm going to try something difficult now. And create a project field, which is an entity reference. Sometimes I honestly think it's just quicker to build these fields out than to type everything out. Seriously. Come on. Reference. Yeah. And create a project field, which is an entity reference field back to the project content type. Let's see how that goes. Oh, well, it's thinking. When it takes too long, that's when I start getting stressed. My stress level goes up. I should actually track my heart rate on my watch with every time I use the AI assistant. When it starts to trickle along, what? Then we can kind of give it a test and see. Oh no, I just went ahead and did it. I want you to confirm it. Okay, so it's gone ahead and it's doing it. Cool, awesome. This time it didn't want to ask for confirmation. But I don't like it when it takes too long. We need bit of intermission music. Hey, there we go. There we go. All right. I feel like we need who remembers Offspring intermission? Yeah, I'm showing my age there. Okay, so let's take a look here. So we have, all right, so we've got project, task description. Great. Oh, we don't have a, okay, so we don't have, can you add, all right, let's test this out. Can you add the following description to the task content type? A content type for managing tasks. This should be easy, right? Oh, now you want a confirmation. Yes, proceed. Why didn't you confirm the last time? I don't know. I don't know about you, but when I'm coding up things, I do often argue with the AI. Nicely though. All right, cool. It's been updated. Refresh. There we go. Look at that. It's been updated. All right. So now, come on in here. We have project. So test project. Let me close this. Hit save. Nice. Then we have test task project. It's pointing to it. Awesome. Do this. All right. Great. Okay. Look at that. Simple. Okay. Done. We're not done building just yet. Can you create a taxonomy vocab? I never knew what the word taxonomy was until I started using Drupal. There you go. Taxonomy, and I'm not going to try and spell vocab again. My spelling is terrible. Can you create a taxonomy vocabulary called project status with the following terms? To do. Is this one space? Ah, yeah, one. Oh, no. Let's do to do in progress and completed. Let's do that first. No, what is? I'll be curious to see what happens there. Anyway, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Oh, that was quick. Oh, wait. Feel free. You can manage. Wait. Oh, you didn't want a confirmation this time. Okay. That's all right. That's all right. Too many tabs here. That's all right. Tasks. Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome. Pop that there. Pop that there. Look, I could probably reorder this by asking chatbot, but it's just quicker to do it. That's the thing. All right. Now, can you add an entity reference field on the project content type, referencing the project status vocab? All right, let's give that a go. Let's give that a go. Give it a moment. Now, while that's thinking, okay, has been added successfully. Okay, all right, cool. All right, well, I thought it was going to take a little longer. All right, so let's clean up these tabs. Get rid of these tabs. Come along in here. Let's close you. Come to project, and we've got. Here we go. To do. All right. I'm gonna do one more change, and I'm not sure if this is going to actually work, but let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. On the project, no. The project status field on the project content type, can you change the widget to a select widgets and reorder the widgets so it's above the project description. Hey, what's this autosave stuff? It's autosave. What happened there? Let's have a quick look. What happened there? Oh, probably kind of hit it at the same time. All right, let's do that again. I will update. That's probably the, oh, because I probably hit enter and trying to save it. Anyway, if that's the only error for tonight, I am very happy. Yes, proceed. Wait, okay. I will update the status field widget and select. Okay, all right, yeah, proceed. Well, let's see if this actually works. Proceed. I've actually had situations, well, I've actually worked on sites where we've had to go in there and just update a whole bunch of content types. All right. Does this also train those models over time to code? Okay, so a comment here from X. Does this also train those models over time to code Drupal better in the future? The more we use it, if new developers get great code after a few years of prompting, it'll be great for Drupal's longevity. That I think, are we talking about actually developing code using, say, like Cursor or Claude Code? Because that I think is a whole different set of training. I do agree that Drupal being not as popular as other platforms, the AI models aren't really trained that well on it, but using things like, what is it? Using like an MCP where you can pull in certain documentation about code, and there is one called, what is it? Context 7 MCP. So if you are going to code things up, I recommend that you use this MCP, because what you can do when it comes to Drupal, is it this one? There's actually a few of them. Yeah. It pulls in. So you actually pass this bit of context. I think you want to probably use the standard Drupal one, but you then also have this Drupal book one, which is maintained by a community member. And this one's actually pretty good. This is the Drupal. Yeah, this one. Where is it? Yeah, Drupal at your fingertips. Great book. Check it out. This is actual fully online, and this has a wealth of information. So when it comes to Drupal, when you're coding up, when you're using these AI stuff to write Drupal code, you can use some of these MCP servers to kind of help you out. So I do recommend that stuff. But I do believe it is getting better. Absolutely, it is getting better. And also, the more people talk about Drupal, and at the end of the day, and I hate to say this, but because AI does scrape and just take all this information, but the more people write about Drupal, the better the AI will get, but you're not going to get paid for that. So, because it's kind of interesting where Cloudflare actually put out this thing where you can actually block AI scrapers now and crawlers and get them to pay you. But no, that is a great question. That is a great question. Let me just close this stuff. All right, so let's do this. Okay, come back here. Has this worked? It has. Look at that. It changed the widget and reordered it. Yeah, I mean, what else do you want? You can build a site for you. All right, there's a comment here. Okay, I found out that you can build nested taxonomy terms too. Yes, you can build nested taxonomy terms. So when it comes to building out Drupal sites, as you can see, there is a lot here that you can do with the AI assistant. Yeah, I mean, you can do, but I think right now, let's just go back here. So let's take a look at the login. If you take a look, like you will see that there is a lot here that has been logged. How many pages is it already? Well, it's already at, 3 odd pages of just logging. I'll be curious to see after this live stream actually how much it costs in tokens. I don't think it'll be that much, honestly. But it does kind of add up. It does kind of add up. Now, yeah, let's go into the assistant. So here. So just be aware that you can kind of figure out things on what it can and can't do. So you can see here that it can create field storage, manipulate field config, grab schema, list things out, and get field. Like you can see here, it does a lot of stuff. And this kind of gives you an idea on what is available. All right, there's a comment here. Do you have an example of user agents? I couldn't figure out how to do this. Is this a security feature? Well, if you want to look at creating your own agents, there is a great video, like a 2-hour video that's by one of the main maintainers of the module. Just search for Drupal. There is a Drupal AI YouTube channel. Jump on there and you will learn a lot, and that's from the actual maintainer of Drupal AI. I do want to cover how to create agents, but for now, that's going to be another video because there is a lot involved. There is a lot involved. All right, so before we move on, let's install one other module. Okay, let me just close these and I will install, what is it? AI. I'll search for AI. And I'll install the AI API Explorer. That one is pretty interesting because what that one does is a great way of testing things out. So if you come along in here, you'll get this AI API Explorer. Too many vowels in there. And you have all of these options right here. But the one that I like is this Chat Generation Explorer. So this one just allows you to chat. It's pretty much like a chat GPT. So you can say, you can ask it whatever questions you want. Hello. And then you can stream. You can also change all the different models. You can ask it. And this is a great way of also testing that things are working. You can see here. And you can also see the raw code. And that's another thing that I should mention as well. If you want to programmatically run these prompts through your code, you can use Drupal AI for that because it does abstract things out into services. And so you can actually just copy this bit of code and then just use it. And that's another good thing to be aware of. You can grab this stuff out and then just use it in your own code. You can also adjust a few things here. And then you have this Tool Explorer. So this Tool Explorer allows you to utilize these extra tools. So we can do things like, let me bring up one of them. Which one is it? List out. What is it? List bundles. So this will list out all the bundles. And I do think at this point it doesn't use any AI. It just lists it all out. You can also list out little things like that. And let me guess, where is one of them? What is it? Modify Cedar. There is this Cedar one, which I tried to get working. I just couldn't get to work. That helps you to create things. And there it was. Anyway, just have a play with them. Honestly, have a play with them. And then you can run these certain prompts. So you can run these extra tools. Prompt. All right, get all. So this will actually run it. So get all content types. And that's going to actually run it. It's going to return it. And last but not least, if you come along here into the assistant settings, actually just click on any of these. When you have the AI AI API Explorer, you will get now this button where you can easily go in there and just test things out. So you can be like, well, actually list out all this stuff. I want to test out this particular list content entities. Come along in here, and this will list out, say, content entities. So if I type in, what is this, node, it should list out all of the content. Okay, so this is the actual content. All right. Or I can filter it by task. Only return one. And should only return one. All right. So that's kind of a quick overview of the AI agents. There's a lot here. And I've been talking now for like nearly 40 minutes, and that's just showing you how to use it. Imagine setting it up. That's why I said there is a Drupal AI, there's a Drupal AI channel that explains, there's a 2-hour video that explains AI agents. Watch that video. Trust me, allocate time to it. Don't watch anything on Netflix. Cancel that stuff. Just sit down and watch that instead. Because, yeah, it really does open your eyes up to what is possible. Okay, and now let's take a look at integrating AI with CKEditor. So before we begin, let's go ahead and search for AI, and we need to install the AI CKEditor integration. And click on install. Get a few warnings here. No, don't worry about that. All right. I will link over to the video later on. I do not like to use YouTube on streams because it shows up ads. So I will link to it later. Okay, so we've set things up. And now to get started, all we need to do is go to configuration, text formats editors, and configure our text format. And we will have 2 buttons, okay? Now the first one is called AI CKEditor. So that's the first one that we want to add. And the second one is called AI Balloon Menu. Now, AI Balloon Menu allows you to display essentially the AI CKEditor menu when you hover and select things. And it allows you to actually select things from that aren't in the toolbar. So when you select a bit of text, you will straight away see the AI assistant button. So it's kind of like a balloon that hovers with your text, and it's actually pretty useful. So once you've added this AI CKEditor, come along in here, click on AI tools, and you will get a few options here. So you can adjust things like the auto dialogue and things like that. Then below that, you have a few options. So let's install a few of these. The first one I'll do is generate with AI. That one's useful. Now there is kind of a funny bug where it doesn't keep the accordion open. Now you do have to enter in. Even though it does say this field may be left empty too, you do need to enter something in. All right. So let's add in. Make it easy to read. I'm just entering something, whatever. Then you have, see, even does that. Okay, so we've done that. Let's avoid that one. Let's do this one. Well, we don't have to do this one. This is great for just reformatting content, especially HTML. Modify, I do like that one. That allows you to modify. Summarize, again, important. Summarize, you can adjust the tone and things like that. And then you can also translate, and you can also fix up. So let's do fix. Okay, let's do all that stuff. Okay, so which ones have we enabled? Well, actually, let's go ahead and let's go here. Let's go to let's create a page. And we've got our assistant right here. Okay, so what we can do is how to use views. How to use views. Okay. All right. Now, of course, I'm not going to write this myself. I'm going to generate. Click on that. And can you write a, I don't know, 500 word blog post on using views in Drupal 11? Be as detailed as possible. It's going to go ahead and generate it. And when we click on generate, you will see this little like AI writer down here. That kind of tells you what's happening. So it's going ahead and it's kind of streaming it down and sending it down the pipeline. Still sending it. How many words did I say? 500. Oh, 500 word blog. Okay. And then we can click on save changes to editor. And there we go. Click on save. Well, publish it. And we've clicked on save. Done. Okay. Easy. There you go. Off to Planet Drupal. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. So also the actual AI balloon that I mentioned is this little pop-up right here. So having this little pop-up when you select items, this is the AI balloon menu. So we can go here and say, all right, can you make it longer? Modify, it's waiting for a response and it goes ahead and just extends it. Well, there you go. It's like, what, you want it longer? I'll give it to you longer. Oh, I didn't mean it that long, but anyway. Well, okay, so that's good. Okay, we're getting there. We can also fix spelling. Let's chuck in a bit of spelling mistakes in here. Select that. Fix spelling. It's going to fix it. Oh, there we go. That's it. And then, of course, you can, let's go back here and summarize. Why not? Too long. And you can see over here that it is summarizing it now. All right. All in all, well, let's remove this one. We're done. Okay. You can see it's done a fair bit there and we're done. Let's go back to our configuration because I want to show you how to use the translate feature. That one requires a little bit of extra configuration. So let's go back here and AI tools, translate. And what it needs is that it actually needs a vocabulary. So what we're going to do is, of course, we're not going to build that vocabulary ourselves. All right, so can you create a vocab called language? So let's give it a moment. All right, the taxonomy has been successfully created. All right, can you add a few common languages as terms? Let's see what happens. I'm just going to get it to kind of do it for me. Let's give it, all right, let's see what's returned. All right, perfect. And then also add in Croatian. Well, seeing that I'm living in Croatia now, I might as well add that in because I can read it at least. There we go. All right, we're done. So now we've done that. I assume that's working. It tells me it's working. All right, there you go. Look at that, easy. All right. Now let's refresh. Come here, translate. enable, and it's going to close, of course, translate. You can select the language, actual language in Drupal that's set up, but I haven't set that stuff up. Translate it. You can auto create, so they can add in, so auto create just means they can add in the language as they are actually using it. And okay, this is interesting as well. You can use the term description for translation context, so if you want to add in a bit more information. All right, so well, actually, no, we don't need that. Let's close that. I think everything is good. All right, hit save. Let's go to our test page. Go back in there and edit. Let's select this. Let's translate it to French. All right. Well, maybe I didn't. Maybe I clicked on it too quick. So where does it end? This exploration. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. And that's how easy it is to just translate things. I could select the whole bunch. Translate. You also want to make sure that it's finished before you click on Save Changes. There we go. Change it to German. And change it to Croatian. Goes ahead. And then it's thinking about it. Oh, interesting. Why didn't that work? Response could not be completed. Let's give it another go. Oh, okay, there you go. See, sometimes it just happens. Now, I would be curious. Let's have a look and see. This is now where okay, let's have a look. Unexpected error. Useful. Unexpected error. Maybe we're hitting it. Maybe we're rate limited. All right, there's a comment about context history. Yes, in the chatbot. Now, I haven't tested that particular use case, but give it a go. There is context, so it does pass in the chatbot. So if we go the assistance, you have history context length. There you go, 5. So the comment was, is there a context history? Can I say I changed my mind, remove the language vocab, and it'll know what to do? Well, context is getting passed, but I haven't tested that particular feature out. So as you can see, sometimes things just stop working, but you just give it a go. Maybe I was rate limited at that point. So let's now go change this. Do I even have English? Oh, I do. Let's change it back. And it's changing it all back. Okay. So as you can see with CKEditor, there's a lot you can do here. There is a lot. There is a lot. One of the things I was thinking of is when it comes to, where is it here? Being able to manage context is probably the important part, especially here. Because when it comes to the stuff that where I use AI, context plays a huge part, because always, I might get things like for example, for these live streams, I've got these event descriptions, and I always want to just the event descriptions are always written in a very generic way, where I have a sentence, I then have we'll cover this and that, and so on and so forth. And so a lot of the times I just use Gemini essentially, because all my content's stored in Google Workspace, I can just tell Gemini, here are examples. Can you generate an event description for me? And it just does it. So the tricky part will be then managing this stuff and being able to pass in context. That's going to be the tricky part. But if all your content's in Drupal already, then managing context should be relatively simple. All right, so that is CKEditor. You do have other options here that you can play around with, like tone, reformat. This just fixes up HTML. This is useful if you're copying and pasting a lot. So yeah, have a play with it. Now let's take a look at AI Automator. So that is another module. Let me just close these tabs. These tabs get a bit unruly after a while. Let's go to Extend, search for AI again, and talk about automators. And let's go install. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use the AI Automator to automate something. And what that is, on the basic page content type, let's add in another field called social summary. And it is going to generate a summary of the content and then add it into the field. And it's going to do that automatically if the social summary field is empty. So again, let's open up. Well, let's actually clear this. Let's open up our chatbot and let's add in another field. Can you create a field on the basic page content type called social summary? It should be a formatted long text field. All right, let's give that a go. Proceed. And I'm going to ask it to move it above content. See what happens, eh? Well, we know that works. Let's just hope the API is working. Okay, it's thinking. It's calling the build agent. All right, perfect. Refresh. Okay, yes. Can you move the social summary widget above the content widget? So it's thinking. Yes, proceed. Come on, you can do it. I just want it above there. And it has. All right, awesome. Good job. And we come, there we go. No, but, yeah, well, wait. Description, is that a separate field or is that a summary field? Let me have a look at that. Basic page. Oh no, he put it above description. That's right. That's fine. I'm not fast. All right. Well, now we need to come back here. Okay, so now we need to edit our field. And what we need to do is click on our field, which is social summary. And you should see this new option down here. Well, let me make sure my face isn't in the way. Yes, it is. Let me move back to the right and click on. And I'll click on that option. So we need to now enable AI Automator. And let's select LLM text. Now, the difference between text and text simple is text simple isn't used on a formatted long, whereas text is. So just select that one. And now what we need to do is we need to select our import mode. So you can do advanced where you can just chuck in any type of prompt. So this is your prompt and you can use tokens to add in context. But in our case, we're going to use base mode because we are going to use the content base field as context. I'm saying the word content context a lot. So let me reiterate. For the prompt context, we're going to use the content field. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck in this. I'm not going to type out this prompt. I'm sick of typing already. And this is important. You need to pass in these variables. So this context is, this is going to be even more confusing, is the content field. There you go. Okay. And this is important because it's not going to pass. If you leave this out, it's just going to hallucinate and it looks like it's kind of working, but it's not going to work. So you need to put in, well, let me not refresh that. Go undo. So all I'm saying is, can you please generate a social media summary of the following text? And I'll put in the text, so the context, and then use lots of emojis. That way I'll kind of know that it's really using my content. And if we scroll down, you want to edit when changed. And you do have a few other options here. You can set a weight if you have multiple. So you can actually set a weight if you have multiple automators. And you can adjust other things down here, but we're just going to leave everything as it is. And also you can do direct or queued. Queue will add it to a cron job, so you have to run cron, or direct will just run it direct. So let's hit save. And now all we need to do is make sure summary is empty, and this should actually, when we click on save, what's going to happen? The automator is going to kick in and then run everything. And we should know that it's kind of working because it takes a second or two to load up once we click on save. If it happens straight away, if it just refreshes and goes directly to the content page, we know it's not working. So it's taken a little bit longer and it's saved it. And then now if we come back, we can see now our actual summary has been generated. And that should be exciting news about Drupal. There you go. Okay. Now, again, if we click on save, it's going to straight away save it. So you can see that it happened pretty quickly because there was content already in there. Now, if we want to refresh this content, you just need to remove it and then just hit save. And that's it. Now, one thing I like to do is also look at things in the back end. So let's go to logging. If we take a look, and you can actually see this in action. And this is important, okay? This is the actual prompt that we gave it. So if things aren't working correctly, because one thing I've noticed with AI is that it likes to hallucinate. If anyone's been using AI, that's the word of the year, I would say, AI hallucination. Because if we wouldn't have put in the actual context, it would have hallucinated. Let's actually test that out. Let's test that out and see what happens, just so you can see if it's going to work. So where is it? Yeah, let's go here. Let me remove this. I'll be curious to see what actually happens. All right, done that. Let's go to content. Let's go back here. Go to content and hit save. The response was, I'm sorry, I can't assist you with that request. Oh, interesting. Okay. Why didn't it assist? Oh, maybe. Okay, interesting. That I did not think about. So maybe there's some safeguards in there. All right, do not expire. What is it? Response. But when we add it in, question value, but when we add it into context, or maybe just can't figure it out. But if we add in the context, I'd be curious to know if that's an actual Drupal AI thing that does it, or maybe just literally says, I don't know what to talk about. Because it's not failing. Must be the AI complaining about it. Yeah, it's not failing. The automator is doing that. Well, no. All right, let's do that again. So did I save it? Manage fields. Yes, I did. Come back here. Make sure that's working. I'll make sure that's removed. Come along. And all right, it's doing something and saved it. Interesting. There you go. All right. I learned something new. So that's pretty interesting. There's a bit of safeguards in there to help you out. All right. So when it comes to setting up these type of automations, as you can see, it is as simple as creating the field and adding the automator on the field. Now, I'll be curious to test out, and this is something I'll probably test out in the future, is how does this work with paragraphs? Because what you could essentially do is you could have kind of like your blog post, and then you can have a paragraph type called social media variants or social media post variants or something like that. Because this is what I think about with my own content. It's like I want to write a blog post once and I want to be able to cross promote that on all the social media platforms. But LinkedIn, you want it written one way. On X, you want it written the other way. On Blue Sky only allows 300 characters. You want to do it another way. And if you can get AI to just kind of fix that up for you and just generate it for you as a paragraph, then you can kind of do things. That's interesting. You could probably do something with ECA. Probably do something with ECA. All right. So let's take things up a notch and use AI automators to create a actual CKEditor action. And what I mean by that is we are able to create our own option from here, believe it or not. So we can actually create one called call to action, which we will, and we can use it and select something and then just run it, and it's going to generate any type of content for us. And this is actually very useful. I already have so many ideas around this that I want to do. So let's give that a go. But there is a bit of site building involved. So the first thing we need to do is, well, let's close off a few of these tabs. That's the first thing. Let's leave that one. Let's leave that one. And let's leave this. I always like this one. You can kind of see. That's actually not bad. I honestly thought there'll be way more errors, that the API was going to throw up a bunch of stuff. But hey, maybe I did hit a rate limit for the whole minute because I was kind of like hitting it consistently. Anyway. All right. So let's go to AI and then automators. And then click on automator chain settings. And let's create one called call to action. Call to action. And let's edit this. And now this is a fieldable entity, okay? It is a fieldable entity. Now click on manage fields and then click on create a new field. And we'll add in a text formatted long, and this will be the input. And let's click on continue. And you want to make this one required. This is an important step. For this to appear in CKEditor, the input field needs to be required. Now, the input can be the field that people use to actually type stuff in, or it can be what is selected, because you can configure the CKEditor option to add in what is selected into this field. Then we need to create the output. So that will be a formatted long, and this one we'll call output. And click on continue. And now we need to scroll down and select AI Automator. And the next thing we need to do, select text. And from our base mode, we need to select import because remember, context is getting added to the import field from CKEditor. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in this pretty big prompt, which is convert the following text into a viral professional social media post, blah, 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 using emojis, input text, and then requirements. And then I just say, then I'm like, wrap it. So example format using block quote. So it appears as a block quote. And then I just put Ivan at the end just to make sure that it's listening and paying attention. All right, one comment from LinkedIn. Hey, well, hello. Hi there. And what else do we need to do? What else do we need to do? And the other important setting, if you go into advanced settings, you want to make sure that direct is selected as well. So that's important. You need to select direct with CKEditor. And you do have other options here, but we'll just leave all that for now. And then click on save. So you can also, if you do have multiple automators, because there are use cases where you want, say, the import to have an automator, you can reorder it from here. But essentially what's happening is we are adding things to the input, then it's getting passed to the output, and then the automator is just spitting it out. Nicely, of course. All right. Now that we've created that part, let's go to our text editor. And we need to then come along here into AI tools, and we should see AI automators. And we've got a few things to configure. Now it's going to do that funny thing where it keeps closing. So bear with me for a second. It's going to close. This is a bit of a bug, but that's all right. Then we need to enable call to actions. Then we need to, the input will be input, then the, again, import, and we want to require selection. And last but not least, the write mode. Now, this is where it either replaces what you've selected, or you can append or prepend. So with this being a block quote, we just want to place it above the content we generated, for example, okay? So you want to first enable it. You want to enable it. You want to then enable the call to action. You want to specify exactly which input you have. Now, okay, this is a little confusing, but you want to probably call it something else other than import. If you don't see this option right here, this checkbox, make sure you set import to required. That's important, okay? That's important. You need to set that to required. And everything has been set up, and then the output is, of course, the output, and click on save. All right, we've done that. Now, let's go content. Let's select this tab. Come along in here. And what we can do is let's select, what is it? Okay, advanced, no, performance. Okay, let's do this, okay? Now, from our drop down, what we can do is we have a new option called call to action. And we can call this whatever we want. So just stop and think. For your editors, or if you are a writer, imagine being able to create awesome little prompts as you are writing things out. I've got a ton of ideas that I could use to kind of break things out into smaller little prompts. All right, let's click on call to action. straight away, our selected text has been added into the input. Okay, that's the important part. Then if we click on generate, it's going to go ahead and pass it to our editor, to our output field. AI Automators will go ahead and do its thing, and then it's going to generate this for us. Now, it has appended our generated text above the content that we want. And then all we need to do is save changes, and it places it back in exactly. And that's it. So we've gone ahead and we have generated that. And now we've got this nice, huge block quote. So just imagine you have a ton of content you need to fix up. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it could be. I'm just trying to think. You could easily use this to even fix up HTML content. Honestly, you could. Imagine you had a situation where you want to change LIs into, okay, well, I don't know. There must be some good use cases where you just want to fix up a whole bunch of H2s to H3s and you just go right click, select fix such and such. And you can kind of automate that. Yes, you could probably write that as a prompt. But one thing I've realized, AI is great, don't get me wrong, but I'm kind of getting sick of just typing the same prompts over and over again. So there's a ton of opportunity for editors where you can create nice, useful, and powerful functionality by creating these AI automators. So we can come along in here and just select all of this. And let's say for the whole configuration section, you can generate a nice little block quote ready to level up your views. They always say that, dive into configuration. Oh, God. And then by Ivan. Yeah, there you go. And there you go. I mean, yes, it requires a bit of configuration, but once you get the hang of it, it's amazing, absolutely amazing what you can do with AI automators and CKEditor. So when it comes to any type of automation, if you want to automate a bit of functionality on a field, then AI Automator is very, very easy. It's much easier than, say, writing it with code, perhaps, or even using ECA. And that now leads me to actually setting up similar functionality using ECA. Now, for people who don't know, ECA stands for Event, Conditions, Actions. It is a workflow tool where you can create a model and then set up a workflow to do things based off an action or an event, really. So here, for example, is the event. We have operation links, or we have this is to duplicate content. It will come along here and then just go ahead and run a few actions. For user registration, here's another one. When you want to validate a user, it's going to generate a random string, set password, set status, and do all this stuff. Okay? We can use it to generate any type of custom workflow. So if you want to learn more about this stuff, just go to ECA. This module does require its own live stream, or maybe 5 live streams as well. This is a pretty full-on module. But I just need a bit more time in understanding it to really give it justice in a good live stream. But luckily for us, Drupal CMS comes with it out of the box, so we don't have to install anything. The only thing we need to install, because I always forget, is the integration module. So let's type in ECA. And what you want to do is enable the AI ECA integration. All right, there's a comment there about it's the D7 rules module on steroids. That is true. Yes, it has become. But there is rules is available for Drupal 11, believe it or not. There is rules version 4, I think. All right. So what we're going to do now is let's implement this functionality, this exact functionality using ECA. Now, I wouldn't recommend you implement this functionality using ECA. It's actually much easier to use the AI automators, but I just want to show you a potential use case of ECA. So the first thing I'll do is let me remove this automation. So let's go along in here and let's remove it. And we'll go to workflows, and I'll also flick my image avatar in the stream to the left-hand side. Because all of the important stuff on a Drupal site is for some reason on the right-hand side. Let's click on create and let's save it, and I'll give it a name. Generate social summary. All right. So let's start things off by adding in a action. So we'll call this one, what do we want to call it? Well, this one is pre-save. Pre-save entity. So this means that before an entity is updated or inserted at the pre-save, it's going to run this action, and that's exactly what we want. Then what you want to do is from template, you want to search for pre-save, and that will be under ECA content. And the type should be the content type that you want to use. So in our case, it's going to be basic page. Let's put in our first, let's move this. And this, well, before we do that, let's put in a condition. And the first condition will be check field. So we want to make sure that the field has, well, that the field is empty. So field value is empty. So that's the first thing we want to do, because we don't want to fire this off every single time. Okay, we only want to fire it off if it's empty. So we can add that condition there. Where is that condition? Now, double check field value is empty, negate the condition, and then we need to add in the field name. So that'll be field social summary. So that's the field name, the full machine name. Now we need to click on this next action, and this action is get field value. So we need to now get the field value, and the field that we're going to get is the actual content field. So that is field underscore content, because remember, we want to grab the content from the body field and then add it here. Okay, so that's important. Okay, we need to do that. Let's go back here. And then what we're going to do is, to make it reusable in other parts of the model, we need to give it a name of, we need to essentially just give it a name. So that can be page content. So whenever we want to refer to the value of the content field, we can just use page content. Let's add in another action. So this one is get content. Now we need to actually generate it. So generate. Let's select that template, and this one's going to be chat. And the input is going to be, so the input token will be the name of this token. So that is page content. Let's add page content here as the input token. And the results of the chat will be in AI list. And we then come in here and do the most important part, and that is the prompt. Let me bring this down a little bit. And my prompt is, and that needs to be, what is it, page? And this needs to be the actual token. So please generate a list summary of the following text, and then text. And so that needs to match that token above there. And I do believe I need to not wrap it without the brackets as well. Make sure. So this is where things can get a little tricky sometimes. Just paying attention to this without brackets, without brackets. And then we put that stuff in there. All right. And once everything has been generated, we then need to set social summary. Let's go to set field value. Just be careful when you select this one. You might accidentally select this under ECA form. Do not select that one because that's not going to work. Instead, what you want to do is select under ECA content, it is set field value. And don't worry if you do not get this right the first time. I know it took me a while to get a good understanding of it. Now what we need to do is with the generated content, we need to now set it into our summary field. So that'll be field social summary. And the field value, what do you think the field value is going to be? If you answered it is the token that we created, yes, it is this token because we have told this action that the results need to be passed in to a token called AI list. So now what we need to do, again, with brackets, we need to put in AI list. And don't worry about saving it because we're doing a pre-save. Drupal handles that for us. And what I like to do just to make sure things are working, I like to put a nice little log message here. And this just outputs it out like log. So let's log it. Let's log it. What is it? Log message. No, not that one. Remove. Oh no, status message, sorry. Yeah, status message. I like to, and again, this is a great way of just debugging things. Just chucking a status message wherever you want. Status message, and we can add in generated, and then just put in AI list. Because the good thing is that once you've set these tokens, you can use it throughout your whole model. And let's click on save. Now comes the fun part, actually making sure it all works. Okay, all right. All right, so we've got a comment. Thanks for the stream. Good new AI stuff to use in my site building. Well, that is true. You can use all this stuff in site building. Absolutely. All right. So before we jump into things, let's just confirm that everything is working. Well, let's just go through it all. So we first want to set on a pre-save. It's going to only happen on basic page. That's the first thing. Then we go ahead and we get the field value, which is content. We want to get this main bit of content and we assign the value of that to a actual token. So this is just a custom token, okay? So you want to copy that because then you come over here and you want to pass in that token, which is page content, into the prompt, and the results are then passed through the token results. And then we have the prompt right here. And again, the token should be used right here. Then the results, which is token result, which is AI list, is then passed to a set field value. So before we use get field value, now we're using set field value. And then the field name, and now we just define the exact field name. So the field name would be just field, and then the field underscore social summary. And the field value should be the token result. And that's it. And then we just add a bit of, you don't have to add this, but you can add it in there. Okay. And we just do log. All right, let's save it. Now comes the important part. Okay. So this already has values in it. So let's remove it. And this should generate a list item, I believe. Where's generate? Where is it? Yeah, HTML list. All right, let's see. So again, it should take a second or two to kind of kick in. So that's how we know that it's working. Let's click on save. I'm going to go ahead. And you can see that our status message is working, okay? So it's been generated. Let's now make sure it's been saved. And you can see right here, it's been saved. There you go. There you go. And just to test this out, if we click on save again, it happens straight away. And you can see that nothing has been generated. So when you do use ECA to generate content, I do think it's important to put in the message in there and say when things were generated, just so that, because it can kind of trigger the editor to know that, oh, something else has happened. It's very important, because the last thing you want is all of a sudden, and I can guarantee you this is going to happen. People are going to start using AI so much in their Drupal sites that A, they're going to forget where the prompts are, and B, they're going to realize that I can guarantee it, I will get a ticket in the not too distant future where they say, for some reason, this content keeps getting updated. Nobody knows how it gets updated or why it gets updated. And I'm going to be spending a day trying to debug why this bit of content is getting updated, because it could be ECA, it could be AI automators, it could be some other custom, bit of code. It can be all sorts of stuff. So yeah, there's going to become the day. And also the other thing I was thinking of, especially when I was preparing for all of this, and this issue's come up before when I've been using this stuff on one of my sites that I'm building out, like just a small website, is that there's no easy way of managing the actual prompts. Because just imagine this, okay? Think about all the places we have added prompts in. We have added it to the AI Automator section on a specific field. We've added it to ECA. You can add it to CKEditor. So there would be I do believe there is a great use case of having some type of managed way of some kind of like central repository of prompts on your Drupal site, and then being able to manage them from a single area. I don't know what the solution is. There's probably a solution in there, but that's something to think about. All right, so that is pretty much it. I mean, I've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover today. Covered a lot. We did cover a lot, but as you can see, I mean, this AI stuff in Drupal is pretty good. And I do want to cover some more stuff in the future, especially just to get a bit more in depth with a few things, especially like automation and stuff like that. So just for a quick recap, if you want to use Drupal AI, then check out the Drupal AI module. If you're using Drupal CMS, then please just install the AI Assistant module, because that just makes life so much easier. It sets everything up for you. You don't need to download any of the stuff. It all gives it for you out of the box. And just a quick shout out, please, if you want to test things out, check out DrupalForge. I know the guys that run this, they're a bunch of great guys. And you can easily test this stuff out for an hour, and it works. And it's pretty much just a vanilla version of what I had set up here, but it's a great way of just testing things out and having it play with it. Because I do think that in the future, well, I would say it's going to be happening soon, that AI is going to play a big part in the content editing workflow. Unfortunately, whether you like it or not, because I saw on LinkedIn somebody saying, oh, I know I can spot your AI content a mile away. And I can kind of see that whenever people post about how much they don't like AI content, they get a lot of likes. So I think it's kind of like popular now to hate on it, but let's be honest, it's just going to get, I don't want to say worse, but you have to kind of use it sparingly. I know I use it occasionally to kind of just, especially when I've generated my videos. So all of my videos, believe it or not, aren't AI generated. All of my videos are me actually sitting in front of a camera and recording it and then editing it. And then often what I do is I then chuck that video into Gemini, because Gemini just recently gives you the ability to place videos in its chat thing, and you can for short videos, you can generate text from videos. You can't do it for a long live stream. I've tried. It kind of runs out of tokens by then. I think a 1 hour live stream is more than 1 million tokens. And so I use it to generate just the baseline of a status, like a LinkedIn post, and then I'll go in there and fix it up. And I totally fix it up. I give it my style, and I also give it content that I've posted before because it's got my own style. And that's going to happen. You have to do that. Like if I want to push out content once a day, which I try to, and even I feel like I'm too overwhelmed with that, you're going to have to leverage these tools. So I do think there's going to be a time where, editors are going to be like, okay, we need this, this, and this. Go ahead and generate this bit of content for us. All right. So again, let's just quickly go through this stuff. So if you want to have a nice little chatbot, then check out the AI assistant. Once all of that is configured, you can then use CKEditor. You can change things directly in CKEditor, and you do have a few options right here. And then you can also create your AI automators. And lastly, you can come in here and create some pretty powerful workflows using ECA. And lastly, let's check this out. Everything has stayed up online, which is great. And we only had 1 or 2 fails. That's all right. That's all right. I'll take that anytime. Anyway, that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about Drupal and also other CMSs, head over to webwash.net. And if you want to check out other Drupal videos, then go to the YouTube channel, the Webwash YouTube channel, click on live, and you should see all of the live streams. Under the live section, there is one live stream that failed halfway through, so I ended up re-uploading it as a normal video. But I do believe this video has actually lasted, surprisingly. Yes, I can kind of see, because I've got the YouTube opened up, that is running. Anyway, that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. All right, now the fun part starts. Oh, how was that? Did everyone enjoy that? Oh, that was fun. And oh, thank goodness the API didn't drop. Yeah, we had a few glitches, but that's all right. I'll deal with that. I'll deal with that. Yesterday, when I was trying it, you can see here, yesterday, it was, first of all, it was ChatGPT was failing and nothing was for API. And then API started value anyway. It was scary stuff. Scary stuff. Because it's like, how are you meant to showcase this? Anyway. Well, let's just pause that stream. Did that last? Yes, that did. So if you have any other questions, please hit me up. I like to chat now. The fun part happens. This is going to be a long live stream, that's for sure. Well, my Camtasia is already at 2.5 gig. Stop recording here. I will stop recording because I'm running out of space, honestly. I'm running out of space on my laptop. Oh no, thank you for everyone who came. Yeah. So tell me, how are people actually using AI? If they are using that in a Drupal site? I'd be curious to know, because I've yet to do a massive Drupal build utilizing all this stuff. I've used it for 1 or 2 of my own sites, but an actual with non-developers. I'll be curious to see how that works because all the sites I've been working on for a long time have been already pre-built sites. Which I don't know, is that a telltale sign of what I think, how things are going with Drupal? I've not built a greenfield, like what they say, greenfield, like a massive Drupal site in a long time. That's why I'm going to start building them myself, I think. Yeah, I'll do something like that. I do have a few ideas on utilizing, play around with DrupalForge. That's good. That's a good comment. Yeah, play around. Yeah, use DrupalForge. Use it. I know I'm friends with the two guys that run this. Yeah, great. Like this is an actual pretty cool system for spinning up sites. Who remembers what is it? Simplytest.me. What is it? Simplytest? Yeah, that one. That was good old days. Good old days. But yeah, I am thinking of utilizing. Well, no, I want to actually build. I want to do a few live streams, but more just sit down site building ones. But I just need to think of a few good ones because I want to utilize a good combination of, say, UI suite on the front end, of course, because I want to utilize. There's one where I want to utilize like use Daisy UI using the UI suite on the front end, and then build out like a little SaaS, like a SaaS application, or like you know, let's say you want to build a CRM using Drupal. How do you do that? There's multiple ways of doing it. You could actually use the Gin theme. You could use this. You could use this Gin theme as the backend, as the front end theme, essentially. Well, no, what would that be? You could kind of use it. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Comment. I do feel the power for the editors in the summary generation, spell checking, along with alt text. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I am trying to build a system. I am trying to build a system where I do the videos because I like doing the videos. Well, no, correction. I like recording videos. I don't like editing videos. I like recording videos. And that's why I do these live streams because there's no editing. And all of my videos are short form videos because it's quicker editing. But I do want to set up a system where I generate the video, I create it, and then I just drag and drop it into a Drupal site and it just goes and generates all the short form content for me. And that is all doable. 100% doable. I just need to kind of put it all together because all you need to do is just grab your video, transcribe it, get captions, and that stuff you can do. Right, that's been solved. Once you get a transcription, now it depends the quality of the transcription. That's the tricky part because on like a VPS, it's much slower to do that type of stuff using Whisper. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. But imagine this, okay? On my WebWash site, okay? So webwash.net, which is the site that I've written on. Well, I haven't been writing that much because I just don't have time for it. But being able to automatically update content potentially. Now the problem is that WebWash is actually a WordPress site, believe it or not. It's not a Drupal site. It's been a WordPress site for it's been nearly like 10 years. So I decided after Drupal 7 that I'm going to upgrade it to a WordPress site because I like to use all the tools out there. I use the right tool for the right job. Drupal has changed, and I have been thinking, like, should I move back to Drupal? But then it's like, I know it's going to be weeks and weeks of downtime for me to do that. That's the thing. It's like I have to pick my battles. Anyway, well, any questions before I finish up? Hope everyone enjoyed the stream. I did. Well, the fact that everything stayed online is good. Oh. So anyway, it says I've got 21 people on X. 21 views, sorry. Is that people or views? I don't really know. It says 21 views. Okay. Anyway. All right. Well, I will finish up. Everyone have a great weekend. Catch you all next time. See you later.